What if Columbus's ships never made it across the Atlantic in 1492? A quick note on framing before we start. Calling it a discovery ignores the millions of people already living there. What actually changes is when and how Europe made sustained contact, not whether the Americas existed. Here's a detail most people skip entirely. Columbus wasn't even the first European to reach the Americas. Norse explorer Leif Erikson landed in what's now Newfoundland around the year 1000, roughly 500 years earlier. The Vikings just didn't stay and didn't trigger the sustained contact that followed Columbus. So, play out Columbus's failure. Most historians agree on one thing quickly. Someone else finds the Americas soon after anyway. Portugal was already pushing westward exploration hard, and one historian specifically notes Portugal's king was watching Spanish intentions closely and would have moved fast to beat them to it. In our actual timeline, Portuguese explorer Pedro Álvares Cabral reached Brazil in 1500, blown off course en route to India. English explorer John Cabot reached Newfoundland in 1497. Either voyage, without Columbus in the picture first, could easily have become the contact point that reshaped history instead. The most significant real difference isn't whether contact happens, it's when, and that timing matters enormously. A delay of even a few decades gives indigenous civilizations more time to develop before the demographic catastrophe of European disease and conquest arrives. One historian specifically argues that the Aztec Empire was still relatively young and internally unstable at the moment Cortés arrived. Given more time without that specific timing, its internal tensions might have been addressed through reform, rather than exploited by an invading force arriving at precisely the right or wrong moment. It's also worth correcting a common myth here. The conquest of the Aztec and Inca empires wasn't purely a story of superior European technology overwhelming everyone in its path. Historians increasingly emphasize that indigenous allies, exploiting real political divisions within these empires, did much of the actual work. Conquest was never as inevitable or as simple as it's often portrayed. The ripple effects reach further than most people expect. Some historians connect the timing of colonization directly to the origins of the transatlantic slave trade. A delayed, different colonization could plausibly mean a delayed, different, or even smaller-scale version of that specific atrocity, though the broader institution of slavery, already present globally at the time, wouldn't disappear entirely. By the time you reach anything resembling the modern day, the language map alone looks different. More Portuguese or English influence, less unified Spanish colonial dominance, could mean entirely different national borders, languages, and cultural identities across Central and South America than the ones that actually exist today. The honest takeaway: Columbus wasn't the cause of European contact with the Americas. He was just the specific person who happened to be first. Sustained contact, and the devastation that came with it, was likely coming regardless of what happened to his 3 ships in 1492. If not Columbus, someone else, and soon. Does that make his specific voyage more important or less? Let me know in the comments and subscribe for the next chronicle.